don't know where.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the
of the United States of America
and to
and to the republic
for which
for which it stands,
one nation
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So we will get started by looking through the regular meeting minutes from February 22nd. So may I have a motion to accept those meeting minutes?
So moved.
Hey, Mark. Second?
Second.
Mark, the other Mark. Mark Crary. Good. Any discussions, comments, corrections to the meeting minutes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. And I abstain because I was not at the meeting. So the minutes are accepted. At this point, I'd like to open it up for public comment. Any public comment? Okay, hearing none, we will close public comment and go on to Ed Sharpo, I believe, is for wastewater treatment plant. Is he calling in, or are we reading his?
He's here.
Oh, there he is. So Ed, take it away.
Okay, I'm going to start with the water department. As you all know, we had to sample for PFOAs, PFOs, and 1,4-dioxane. Those all came back with a non-detect, which is a very good thing. We will have to sample one more time, and then as long as that comes back non-detect, we shouldn't have to sample for a couple of years, I believe, something along those lines. As for operations, pump number 1 has finally been resolved. I have to do a little bit of adjusting, but after replacing the valve and then the panel, we found that the 2 timers in the MCL were not working. Those have been replaced by Aqualogics, and the pump is now functioning properly.
Great.
So we're back to having 2 working pumps. We have had... Any questions on that?
Nope, just a long time coming, so I'm very...
Yeah, it's been a long process. We've actually had a few water main breaks, one of which was by the beach, by the bathhouse. That one was found to be a line servicing the hydrant. Luckily, I was able to just turn that off. That should be fixed in the spring. That hydrant has been put out of service. We received a call last Thursday on the 4th for ice in the road from Roger. We found that there was a water leak. We coned the area off as it was 11 o'clock at night and extremely cold. We sanded the road and we fixed that main on Friday in the morning. Well, actually, it took most of the day. And then we had a service call on Saturday for the house on the corner of Route 8 and White Rock Trail. Water was not running. A plastic check valve had broken and plugged the line. There was concern that it had something to do with the 8-inch main from the day before, but we had never turned the water off in that repair, so that shouldn't have been a concern.
And that was
What's that?
And that was our responsibility for the check valve?
Yeah, I mean, the meter and the horn, the check valves are our responsibility. We make sure they're in there and that they're replaced if they're bad, and there's 2 of them, and so on and so forth. So we replaced it with 2 new check valves, got the meter horn cleaned out, and then everything went back to normal. Obviously, our expenditures are going to be W2 operator group for the new panel, Aqualogics, but I don't believe that'll be in this in these bills. Ferguson Waterworks for 6-inch repair clamps. O'Connor's Auto for inspection, tires for the Ranger. I believe we did a alignment on the Chevy, and then Flat Chemical for our monthly sodium hypochlorite for disinfection. I'm still working on my schooling, and obviously we're working on the budget. We had a meeting today. Everything's starting to look good. We just have to make a few adjustments for the water. We will be installing the LED lights at the well control building, and we'll keep an eye out for more breaks. Hopefully we don't have any after next week, because Lenny's going to be on vacation for 2 weeks. I will move on to the wastewater report now. Our land application report has been submitted. I also haven't submitted the land application renewal paperwork. However, there were some reg changes in 2017, so I have to make some modifications to the letter that I wrote, and I have to provide the basically the operations manual for the land application site, which we have. I will update it before I send it in. And then I have to complete the annual water withdrawal report. I basically take the water and compare what we've taken out of the ground to what's went through the wastewater plant to get an idea of water loss and consumption, so on and so forth. All of the LED lights have been installed throughout the wastewater plant. We've done some ice and snow removal on the building. On that note, we may be doing, well, I'll mention this after. We'll begin preparing the outside plant as ice and snow melt. Same thing for expenditures. As for the upgrade project, I have received and approved the plans as they were given to me for the final contract of the wastewater project. The time frame is as follows, and this was with a discussion I had with Brendan today. Project intent to go out to EFC, because EFC has to approve the plans, and possible bidders at the end of March. This will allow about a month for bids to come in, April 28th. Brendan told me to expect a week extension because bidders tend to ask for more time. We would hope to accept a bid on May 10th meeting, which is my meeting, I believe, and then we would authorize a notice to proceed May 24th, beginning of June, start work. And then as for what we have to do, I have to still work on the wastewater budget, which should be relatively straightforward this year. We still have to pull pump at Pump Station 5, and we'll continue checking the pump stations in the village. Any question? Oh, so what I was going to add was I have on here that I had to remove ice and snow from the building at the waste and water and waste office building.
Yeah.
We may do a change order depending on what our bids come in at to replace the roof at the wastewater plant. Basically, we would just add metal to it. At this time, the roof that's on there is a rubber and stone. The rubber's deteriorated and the water is beginning to go up the cracks between the concrete. I don't want that to cause any issues in the future, so we should think about getting metal on that. We could always do something separate if we needed to, because we do have money in fund balance, but we might want to have them do it if they're already here.
So we will look forward to getting some prices on that.
Yeah, so basically if we decided we wanted the contractors were already here working on the contract, we could ask them for a price, and then if we agreed on that price, we could do a change order for them to replace the roof, or add to the existing roof, should I say.
Right, so depending on... Okay.
If we chose not to do that, then we could, I could call around and get quotes for an independent contractor to come in and do it.
Yeah, I think that we would need at least 2 to 3 quotes depending on how much it's going to cost according to the procurement policy.
Right, so maybe in the process if we do decide, we'll get a price from the contractor that's already working there if it's not sufficient, and then we'll also get some independent contractors' prices as well and just see how they look.
That'd be good. So, Ed, I have one question about the fire hydrant. Are we covered from a fire perspective with that hydrant being out?
Well, luckily that hydrant is actually right on the lake.
Okay.
There's also, what do we have there? The pavilion, the firehouse. There's another hydrant right in front of the lemon tree.
Okay.
And then there's another house right past Mark Doniker's house. But then we can also draw from the lake if we needed to there. That will be a relatively quick fix, just because once I can get in there to dig it up and put a wrap on the break. Well, I don't actually know how bad or severe the break is yet, but obviously I have to dig it up to find out. So I was by myself that day when that happened. I had Wayne and me, so I just thought it best that I don't try to do it myself. So we pushed it to spring, and that was also with Mark Doniger had stopped by and suggested that as well. I think you can agree to that, right, Mark?
Yes, and we have 2 fire hydrants on the shelf, so we're going to.
Yeah, those are to replace. Those are to replace the one on the corner. Unless I did budget for, or I am getting a quote for another hydrant, and then there's also one in front of, right next to the Village Motel. In front of the apartment building that needs to be replaced.
So there's only one, Jeanette, that Crystal, I asked Crystal this morning to talk to Matt to see if we can eliminate that hydrant and check with the insurance company and see if we do eliminate it, how it affects our insurance.
Good. Yeah, so basically state law, DOH law is, I think it's every 300 feet you need a fire hydrant. The fire hydrant that's on the corner of, what road is that?
Brooks Avenue.
Yes, Brooks Avenue and Route 8. There's one, well, as of right now, there's not because Tractor Trailer took it out. But there's one within 150 feet there, and then there's another one right across from Mountain Market, and that's even closer. So I'm hoping that we can eliminate it, because it's the oldest in the village, and it's in a really tight, difficult spot to work. But I guess we'll see what the insurance company says, and we'll see how Matt feels. Discussed it with them before. But I guess I haven't really got an answer. So
And
we
you
will
can give us an update with that next month.
Yeah, Matt requested that they all be fixed, but we'll go through the insurance company first, and if there's no change, then I'm sure Matt will say you can eliminate it.
Yeah.
Right. So let's make sure that that's well documented.
Yeah.
Good. Any other comments for Ed? Nope. All right, Ed, thank you very much. And happy
All right.
vacation to Lenny.
Oh, yeah.
So
Just wish me luck.
Yes, great luck. And as a possibility, DPW can cover you to some extent, if there's any.
To some extent, but nobody's been trained for rounds or anything down there, so everything should be fine. The only thing I'm concerned about is when I get my second vaccine shot, he's going to be on vacation, and I don't know exactly how that's going to affect me until I get the shot. So,
Okay.
About 18 hours, 16 to 18 hours, you should feel the effects, Ed.
The kids go to school every day, so I have to be there till 3 no matter what to get them from school. So, I'll be there one way or another.
All right. We'll make it work.
Yep, for sure.
Right, and he leaves next week.
I believe it's I believe it's next Thursday or Friday.
All righty.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Do you guys need me to stay for anything else, or?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good night.
Night.
Bye.
All right. Next up is Clerk Treasurer's report.
Just a couple of little things. The laptop for the water and sewer department was received, and it's going to be set up on Wednesday. Ed looked it over today. He seemed pretty happy, sort of. A notice of election ran in the last week's paper. It'll be in this week's paper as well. It's on the website. And it's been posted around in various spots around the village for next week. The last day to request a mailed absentee ballot is tomorrow. And the last day to request an absentee ballot for pickup or drop off is next Monday on the 15th. And the absentee ballot obviously is application is available on the website. We just need an original signature if anybody does print that out and brings it in. And then lastly, the financial report number 9 is ready to review if anybody is interested in coming in before next meeting. That's it.
All right. Any questions or comments from Crystal? Crystal, you've also been doing a lot with the budget planning, so thank you for that. Thank you for staying on top of that. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Okay.
We just plan on meeting for wastewater on Thursday. And
yeah.
Did you check with who's going to represent the site?
I have not, honestly. This today got kind of busy.
That's fine.
We can talk about it right now if you want and see who wants to come on Thursday for that.
Yeah.
So that's Thursday morning.
Jeanette, I know you're busy, right?
I'm at the doctor's, right?
Yeah. So if Rebecca or Cindy would like to join.
Yeah, I can sub on Thursday. I'm just looking at my calendar because I have a doctor's appointment and Rick has a doctor's appointment on Thursday.
Me, Crystal. That's fine.
Sorry.
It can just be it can just be Mark and I and Ed. I think we can figure it out.
Did Rebecca say that she might be available? No?
She's subbing.
She's subbing.
Oh, you're subbing. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, it's just a preliminary meeting before we have our budget workshop, just to kind of get some idea of what's going on with his parts of the budget. So it's not, it should be a pretty easy meeting, honestly.
Okay. And then we do have a budget workshop
tomorrow.
And then we have one next Tuesday, correct?
Next Wednesday. Next Tuesday is election.
Next Wednesday. Okay, good.
Tomorrow we'll be discussing DPW and the fire department's budgets and hopefully the revenues for taxes for the general fund. So.
Crystal, will that be Zoom?
Yes. Okay. I'll send it out first thing in the morning. I meant to send it out today and did not get to it.
That's okay. Been a busy day. All right. May I have a motion to approve abstract number 19?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Cindy and Mark.
Cindy and Mark.
Pick and choose.
Any comments, questions? I believe that Ed's Aqualogics was on this abstract, if I remember correctly.
I think the W-2 operator one was as well.
Yes, correct.
So
that's all in there. Okay. So all in favor of approving abstract 19, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay. All opposed, say no. All right. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay. Old business. This should be relatively quick. So COVID-19 update. The COVID case total for the county as of last week, was 309 people with 4 active cases. I think about 15 or 16 people have been hospitalized during the past year for COVID. Public Health has done a great job with their volunteers from emergency departments and the Sheriff's Department coordinating their vaccination clinics. So as of last week, there were over 2,000 vaccines that were distributed, and I know that there were several clinics during that week that are not included in that count. We also have 185 as of the end of February. I guess that's February 22nd. We had 185 people vaccinated in our zip code, so I know that also has gone up quite a bit since the recent vaccines. Just as a note of reminder, eligible people include those over the age of 65 and over, emergency first responders, sheriffs, grocery workers, ESS, DCS, and probation officers, and they included restaurant workers. We were notified that they are also now taking people with comorbidities and underlying health conditions for people over the age of 60. That has been added. So again, a big thanks to Public Health and emergency services that have made those clinics available, and for all the volunteers that have made those clinics run really well. FEMA and Halloween update storm. I'm still waiting the final approval for 2 projects. One is the Tunney Park and beachfront, and the other is the pump station? Pump station 2 that's off kilter. FEMA COVID update, nothing to update. Verizon small cell, nothing new. The poles are up at SVAC and the pavilion, and they're awaiting the cell towers. No idea when those are coming. The fire tower, we have been informed of a $6,000 matching grant for the McComas fire tower, and the details will be going through the fundraising committee. So that should be kicking off in the not too distant future. LED streetlights. Well, we're getting down to the last 2 weeks, according to my communication with Mr. Joe Pallone from National Grid. He's not responded to me this week, so I hope to have a date of when those installations will begin. And then the septic system erosion regulations, we are still on hold for that. We have committed to involve LPSA and Hamco Soil and Water in those discussions. And I know that there are a number of folks within the community who have interest in those types of regulations. And we're also reaching out to Arietta to see where they are in their process for their law development, and to see how we can have a comparable process across our area for those types of regulations. So stay tuned. New business. I'd like to announce that Wayne Lucas is retiring, and there will be a recognition for him in the office. He's served the village for 14 and a half years. He's been an excellent heavy equipment operator, and that recognition will be at the office on Wednesday at 11 a.m. for employees and the board. Given Wayne's retirement, there has been a posting today, or at least it's been submitted to the paper today, for a heavy equipment operator job description. So that job posting is out there. It's open to the public as well as anyone within the DPW who would meet the requirements of that job posting. And a copy of that posting was distributed to the board. Is there any question or comment regarding that? Pretty straightforward. I'll take that as a no. Next up is the renewal for school plowing contract, and I had provided a little worksheet that I did for that. So the village contracts, the school contracts with the village to plow, and the contract length is 2 years, Crystal?
Yeah, the contract that we're in right now was 2 school years.
2 school years, correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the past, the village has charged $3,000 per season. What I had asked Roger to do was to collect data on the average number of plowings and sandings that have taken place over the last 3 seasons, so that we could have accurate information in that regard. Every time we plow, it's averaged out to be about an hour worth of labor and equipment costs. Every time we sand, it's about 15 minutes. So equipment costs were based on 2019-2020 FEMA reference charts for the 3/4-ton pickup truck that's used. And then we took Roger's salary, because he's the one who's been doing the school, and basically he's the only one who does the school. We've also used about 15 yards of a sand salt mixture, which has not been included in the calculations. So as you can see on that worksheet, the total estimate comes to $3,690.05 for present day costs. So I know that the cost of labor is going up, and fuel costs will be going up as well. So I would like to throw out there that we would set the contract for $3,750 for the season. but it's open for discussion.
I agree with the additional cost to cover our costs. No problem.
Okay, so we're not making any money on the school as we
Right.
should, and it's strictly covering what it costs to run the service. Any other
Sounds good.
comment? Okay, so then may I have a motion to propose $3,750 per season for the Lake Pleasant School plowing contract?
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Rebecca. Any comments, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of this motion, say aye.
Right.
Aye.
All opposed, say
Aye.
no. All right, Crystal, if you would send that over to the school, that would be great.
I will.
Next up is one of my least favorite topics is audits. As a result of the OSC budget workshop, it was discovered that LoSAP, independent audits of LoSAP, are required annually, and this is by law since, I believe, 2008. And we have no record that LoSAP has been audited since that time. We also have on our books money set aside for a general financial audit. So we've budgeted $9,000 for a financial audit. We have not audited for a LoSAP audit, but there are contingency funds that may cover those costs or should cover those costs. We have looked and asked around for auditing firms in our general area that people have firsthand use with, as well as high recommendations and recommendations from NICOM. We have identified 2 auditing firms in our area that have been recommended and have also been used by ourselves as well as other municipalities, and both have offices in the Albany area. The first is the Bonadio Group out of Albany. They were the ones who conducted our procedural audit. The other group is the BST Group, and this is the audit group that has been working with the town of Lake Pleasant on their recent financial audit. So both have capabilities of conducting both LoSAP and municipal financial audits. So what I would like to propose is that we prepare a request for proposal to get quotes for these professional services. According to the procurement policy, any services that range between $3,000 to $19,999, we should get 3 requests or 3 proposals, unless there's extenuating circumstances that we are unable to obtain 3. So we'll continue to look for a 3rd one, although we haven't been able to identify one as yet. So at this time, I would like to ask for a volunteer to work with me on preparing a request for proposal that will be reviewed and approved by the board at the next meeting, and then submitted to the Bonadio and the BST group for prices. So is there anyone out there who would like to volunteer, like Mark Prairie or somebody like?
I would like to volunteer, but I will be unavailable for 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Then would someone else like to volunteer?
Well, what does it entail?
What it is it puts together, so we contact the auditing groups and ensure their capabilities, and if they have any general requests for proposals. So we would take those, and then we would look through what our needs are and determine a set list of what we would need in a financial audit, and we can check with OSC what those things are, as well as for LoSAP, and then we would bring it back to the board for approval. So it's
Okay, and that has to be done by next board meeting.
correct.
Okay, I'm happy to do that. I will not. I don't think I'll. Wait a minute. The next board meeting is when? 22nd?
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm good. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Then we will, Cindy Rumsey and I will work on that, and then we'll bring it to the board for a quick check, and we'll send it out.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay, next up is Community Pride Day. The annual Community Pride Day is scheduled for Wednesday, May 5th, and we've been asked to make a donation of either $30 or $100 as a sponsor. There is sponsor acknowledgement on t-shirts, either a line listing at the $30 level or a logo at the $100 level. This is also the 21st year, and I think it's a good idea for us to support this effort. And the community and school support has always been really strong for Community Pride Day.
Yeah.
So I would like a suggestion for either going for the $30 or $100 donation.
We have the money to do 100.
Well, I think we can take it out of my budget, correct? I see Crystal nodding.
Okay.
So there is money under my budget line for up to $100 to do that. I mean, I would like to see us support $100.
Yeah, I think we should.
Good. Okay. So
Is this a first request for the village to participate? Anybody know? Have we done this in the past?
I don't think they've done it in the past, but they always ask every member of the community because
Yeah, I was just
the
curious
Lions
about.
Club has always been involved in it. So
I'm just curious about the village itself. I don't remember the village having participation before.
yeah, I don't think we've participated, but I think it's a
Okay.
good thing to do to invest.
Yeah. No, I agree.
We donated something though.
Yeah. Did we donate services?
We might have. Like, don't they leave trash bags?
yeah, the village gave trash bags and they picked up the trash bags. They usually met us someplace. Most of the time, we just dropped them off at the village garage and they took care of it.
Yep. So this would be in addition to those helps by DPW. Okay. So may I have a motion to do $100 to the Community Pride Day with monies being taken from the mayoral line?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, Cindy, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. So Crystal, if you can let them know, I know that the deadline is coming up soon. Okay, so snowmobile and sidewalk update. So we have finally identified the agreement that was made in 2003. So at this point, we would refer that to Katie for review as far as what our stance is. And we're still reaching out with National Grid to confirm some things along those lines. That's all we have with that. I guess I should have put that under old business. I'm sorry. Okay, youth hockey equipment. So this was today, which was really great. Eric and Danielle Holvig, residents within Speculator, organized an intro to hockey session at the Speculator Pavilion earlier today, which was open from ages 4 and up who were interested in learning the basics of hockey. I really didn't see anyone over 4.5, 5 feet tall, so those opportunities are still available. Over 20 children signed up, so a big thank you to Eric Holvig and Christian Klug for donating their time to help teach and coach this inaugural session. They are very pumped and would like to continue this for next year. And the kids seem very enthusiastic and very engaged. So several people made this happen. Danielle Holvig came up with the idea after talking with local parents looking for new activities in the COVID season. Eric's friend, Barry Weisselberg, who is associated with the running of Woolman Rink in New York City, he donated 15 pairs of brand new hockey skates to allow families the opportunity to try skating without making a big purchase beforehand. And Barry also donated 2 team sets of jerseys for use during the hockey sessions to split up the teams easily. So a big thank you to him. Christian Klug also brought additional loaner skates for the kids, so everybody was able to have a pair to use. Amy Lawrence has noted in the past purchased and donated a dozen hockey sticks for the village for ongoing use. And Eric and Danielle purchased and donated 2 full-size metal hockey goals that will be available for anyone to use moving forward. And my hat's off to DPW, specifically Paul Alfieri, who did a great job with the ice today. He's kept it clean and clear during the winter, and then scraped and flooded it today, so it was in great shape for the hockey. And DPW has agreed and has storage space for the hockey equipment off season. So I think that this was a great addition to the kids and to the community today. It was a really nice turnout.
Mayor, did we find the nets and the hockey sticks?
We did. So the hockey sticks and the hockey pucks, there was a little bit of a panic this morning at 7 a.m. when there were no hockey sticks. Those had been removed earlier and were available for the kids to use. So everything was great. Is there any other new agenda items? Nope. Okay. Board roundtable. Any comments, questions that need to be presented? I have one item, another one of those oh my gosh moments. We were notified by NICOM today of a dangerous cybersecurity threat affecting Microsoft email servers. The federal authorities have reported on a serious cybersecurity risk affecting any organization that runs Microsoft Exchange email server. It's believed that tens of thousands of organizations across the U.S., involving cities, villages, and local governments, have been hacked by what Microsoft and others believe to be a Chinese state-sponsored threat that is installing malware and giving them privileged access to these organizations. The access poses a risk of significant criminal acts, including espionage, ransomware attacks, identity theft, and full network takeover. Crystal, after my initial panic attack, confirmed with ABS Solutions that the village is protected and is not affected by this cyber attack because it uses Office 365. So, hooray for updating our cybersecurity and having the appropriate solutions in practice to protect us for such things. So, thank you for that. Now we'll open up for public comment. Any public comment? Okay, hearing no public comment, I will close that session, and we will adjourn the public portion of the meeting and go into executive session to discuss an Elliott Lane proposal provided by our attorney, Katie Smith. So, Crystal, if you would bump off anyone who is not part of the board.